Hello.
Have you finished your breakfast?
Almost. Well, it wasn't really breakfast, it's lunch. Hello, my love. How are you?
I'm very well, thanks. How are you?
I'm okay.
Good week. That sun is shining on you. If you're watching on YouTube, it looks beautiful.
Well, I'm
like
sat in front of the window. Sorry. I've just, for those listening
Watching.
or watching, I've just finished a packet of crisps. And they are Seabrooks, Liam Perrings, and oh my God, they're so good. They're just a small packet.
And the absolute perfect intro, because last week we said that, was it last week or the week before, we were chatting about food and nutrition and things, and we said that we were going to do an episode on it. So you have eaten your breakfast pre-episode.
It's not breakfast.
All right, snack.
Well,
what is it then?
Lunch.
That wasn't lunch. It's like, no. Oh, it is. It's lunchtime.
Exactly.
I'm so hungry. What an episode to be doing on an empty stomach. Oh my gosh. But yeah, so we thought we would have a little chat, because you and I talk about nutrition and food and how much we love it and loathe it at the same time.
And some of the challenges that come with that, because, you know, as we've said and spoken to, endless people about this recently, and how if you suffer with challenging, I'm just trying to think of the right terminology, I have to be careful there, don't I? If you suffer with any kind of mental health issues, then invariably with some people that can lead to challenges with food. And you know, and as we said before, I know loads of people that's affected. And
it's just a really common conversation, isn't it? You know, it's not like absorbing, but I have it a lot with people that come in the shop of, you know, just all walks of life. It always comes back to, you know, what we're chatting about today is our own personal opinions, experiences. Like, we're not doctors, nutritionists, anything like that.
I'm not giving advice.
No. Just make that completely clear. But just from things that we talk about all the time, that actually we thought maybe it might be interesting for other people to listen to, because I have been, I suppose, what they class a yo-yo dieter, which I hate, because actually what it means is that I've just been quite comfortable at different weights, sizes, clothing. But, you know, I find it really difficult. I find it really difficult to eat. And as someone who is classed as overweight, that's really difficult for people to understand, because it's like, huh? How can you be? I find it really difficult to remember to eat. I don't eat breakfast really common. Ever. And if I do, I'll make it, probably forget to eat it. Sometimes I have lunch. If not, I will grab something around this time that I'll eat. And then by the time I've got home from whatever I'm doing, I'm literally wasting away. I'm disappearing from the earth. And then it's exactly like they say, don't go shopping on an empty stomach, because my choices from that moment on, when you realise, actually, I'm hungry, are awful. Like,
and it's all you can think about.
Yeah. And the care about things goes completely out of the window. So, you know, I'm making dinner, but I'll have a slice of bread while I'm making dinner because I've not had lunch. So you make dinner. And I am, I love to cook, and I like to cook, you know, from fresh. We don't often we have the odd freezer meal, my kids more than us, but, you know, I like to cook. I don't find that difficult to come up with recipes. But what I also like to do is eat while I cook. So I'll be cooking and then I'll eat. But that's all right, because I've not had lunch. So for me, I'd kind of justify it. And then after I'm finished dinner, I'm still a bit hungry. So I'd maybe have a supper. But that choice would be quite a poor choice. And then my blood sugars are so blooming all over the place from the day. I need some chocolate. So then I'll eat some chocolate. And that is a pattern that probably most of my life has been in.
Okay.
There have been times where it's been completely different. And I know we've spoken about this before, that if there's a different focus, my life has been very different. So, you know, I've been very open about the fact that I had, maybe not on here, but with people that I meet, that I had IVF to have my second daughter, and I was classed as overweight, obese, whatever term they want to use, before I had IVF. So I needed to lose weight to be able to extend my family, because it was the only option.
So that's really interesting. So let's just unpick that, if you don't mind, just a little bit.
Come on then.
So first of all, how did you go about doing that?
How did I go about losing weight?
Losing the weight, yeah.
So there is a moment, I mean, I need to maybe just make a little disclaimer before we chat about this, that I'm going to chat about fertility and, you know, some other bits there that you might not want to listen to. So if you don't, then please fast forward. But I had 2 back-to-back ectopic pregnancies after I had Freya. So I lost both of my fallopian tubes within 6 months. So I knew really quickly that the only way that I was going to be able to have another baby was to have IVF. Something after that second surgery, when they said, you know, naturally I can't physically have a child, just switched. Like, I want to have a second baby so much, but I know that even you know, I had to privately fund, because obviously I had a child already, and I'm not sure if people are aware of that, but you know, NHS funding doesn't extend your family if you already have a child. So we knew that we were going to have to financially fund that. But even privately, there are kind of policies and things about weight and what is good practice to be able to go for, to give yourself the best chance. So from that day, it became, do you want to eat this or do you want to have a baby? Do you want to eat this? A really unhealthy, for me, looking back. But I lost 6.5 stone in 6 months.
Wow.
Yeah. It was my hyperfocus. It was literally a 1,000 calorie a day. So slim fast for 3 months. So a shake in the morning, shake at lunchtime, dinner, no snacks, gym, walking, exercise. My personality, as I'm sure people are aware, have got a glimpse of in here and in person, I'm intense with things that I commit to.
Yeah.
But what I've never had a switch of is my health being enough to be that switch.
Well, or can I can I sort of reformat that slightly? It's about, so this was about someone else, wasn't it? This was about something else. So you were doing it for a different purpose. But when you're just doing it for yourself, for you, the switch isn't the same.
No, because you know, even as a parent or not a parent, the priority of yourself, some people else. It is, obviously, because they're in that, their brains are able to put themselves in that position. For me, it wasn't. And I don't even think if people would, if someone was to say to me, were you happier, you know, because I'm now back up to the size that I was before I lost all of that weight. It wasn't about happiness for me. It wasn't about, I've never ever had a body image problem.
No,
I love
exactly
the way I
same.
look. I dress the way that I want to dress, and I could not give 2 hoots what people thought about what I was wearing. I've been like that probably for the last 10 years. So it's never been about that. It's just no. It is about health and so I don't look back on that fondly of that I was 6.5 stone lighter and I felt or looked better, because for me, how I compartmentalize that is I had to do it to do that. It wasn't about a change, and that's the difference. And I find it really hard to change my habits for myself. It's really difficult. And I know you and I speak about that switch that needs to be flipped, but when you have, I can only speak from personal experience, and I am a quite newly diagnosed ADHD, you know, neurodivergent, that it's only been like 18 months. But when you learn and you look into that, I understand that some of it isn't a choice. It's genuinely...
Well, I think that is, so from the research that I've done and having my own lived experience of this, being a little bit older than you as well.
You're not much older than me.
Sort of am. Anyway, that's the bit, the real connection and the key, I think, is having, when you fully understand that, you know, a big part of why you can't do something, and this is my own beliefs. I can't stress that enough. It's not cast in stone. This is my own beliefs from the research that I've done and what I've discovered about myself, is once you have sort of gone down the path of understanding that, whether it be, so I'm dyslexic, the fact that I will write a text and I'll read that 3 or 4 times, and to me it makes sense, and I'll send it, and then the following day I might look at it and it's all spelt incorrectly. That's not so much of an issue these days. I miss words out completely, and I just can't see it at the time. I no longer feel shame or guilt about that. And what I now realize for me is the switch, the lack of ability to turn that switch on and off, to be able to engage my brain, to understand that what I need to put in my body has a direct impact on my health, is I don't like using the term "it's not my fault." Of course, it's not. It's nothing to do with that.
Yeah, I think that people that are resonating with this understand what we mean by it.
It's nothing to do with that. Once you get your head around the fact that actually it's a huge part and parcel of, or for me it is, of it comes with my neurodivergence, that the connection that I have to my body isn't the same as it is for other people. And therefore, I find it much more difficult to engage myself for any length of time. So I wouldn't describe myself as a yo-yo dieter. I have been pretty much the size I am now since I've always been a 14 to 16, and now I did go up a lot higher than that, and now I'm a 14 to 16. And so I've been that way since I was in my sort of mid-20s. And even prior to that, not much different. And I just I have found, which is one of the reasons we wanted to talk about this, accepting who I am and what challenges I've got, as I again release the shame and the conversations that I have with myself in my head about food. So, you know, the constantly going to bed on a Sunday night. How many times have we done this? Saying to myself, tomorrow, it's Monday morning, the start of the week. Tomorrow, I'm not going to do those things. I'm not going to continue with those habits that I know I don't want and are bad for me. I'm not going to do it. And then you find something happens, and mine is very much, or has been very much, based around my emotions. I eat my emotions. Basically, and it's not in a good way, and that constant need to put something in my mouth,
or reward.
All reward. It's anything, reward, punishment, all of it. Absolutely. All of it. It's this bad relationship I have with food. And you know, if you have a bad relationship with alcohol, you can just cut it out of your life. It's obviously not easy at all. It's really, really difficult.
You don't need it to be able to maintain your life. You don't need
it to function and to live, whereas food you do. So it is a very, very different process that you have to go through. And for the first time at the age of 54 in my entire life, consistently, which is the word, for a sustained period of time, I seem to be able to have my fingers on that switch. It's up a lot of the time, but sometimes it flips down. And when it flips down, I'm able to have a conversation with myself to say, it's okay. This is just temporary. It's going to go back up again. And it does. And I do believe a big reason for that is because I am not punishing myself and not blaming myself, and haven't got a bad, I'm not having a bad conversation with myself in my head where I am constantly ridiculing, saying, well, of course you haven't done that. Here we are again. It's week 2, you know, You're in the cupboard again. You're going down to the garage. You know, all of that sort of stuff.
100%. And mine is, it's always been me joining somewhere, because I feel like if I, you know, we won't, there's
Something
lots of places, but a group that you would go to,
Yes.
I would love, in fact, at one point, maybe I could find it. I would love to find out how many membership first joining things I've done to one particular group that you would go to get weighed. Because what I say to myself is, you are not accountable to yourself. For some reason, you're not being accountable to yourself. So someone else needs to hold you accountable. So every Tuesday at 7 p.m, you need to go to that place and you need to stand on the scales in front of whoever, and then you will be held accountable for that. But what happens, because that is how my brain works and my personality, is I am all in. I am literally bang, books, magazines. I'm prepared. I'm meal prepping for about a month. And then, as with hobbies, as with just general life, that is my personality, and I'm quite proud of it, because, you know, it is me. I won't do it. It's the same as if you said to me, fill in this food diary for a month. I'm not going to do it. And that's not me making an excuse and saying, sorry, I've got ADHD, I can't do that. I know I'm not going to do it. It doesn't work for me. It's not sustainable. I am then going to feel like I've failed again, because I can't do it. It's when you give yourself tasks, or it's just not going to work for me. I'm not going to stick to something for 2 years. For me, last time I lost weight, I had 6 months, and that's what I gave myself. 6 months to get to I mean, it wasn't even healthy, because the time it took me to lose that weight was, you know, but I gave myself that 6 months. So my hyper focus is, right, I need to just eat as little as I can to be able to get to that end goal. Well, when I'm joining a group or an online something or other, my health and me has never been the goal, because I'm actually quite happy. Well, I've always been slightly, I don't want to say cocky, but I will. Of, you know, not everyone who's overweight is unhealthy. And I still stand to that. I don't think BMI, I think it's a crock of whatever. Rubbish. I don't think that you can weigh a rugby player that weighs 22 stone and is built like a monster and the fittest person ever, and tell him that he's severely obese because of the way that he weighs and his height. I don't agree with that. I have never, up until recently, had any health conditions that have been because I've been overweight. So, and I've always been very happy with the way I look. So there hasn't really been a reason as to why I would do that, other than I need to, because I want to be healthier. And then obviously very recently, as in like last week, I was diagnosed diabetic. And for me, that was like, it was a surprise in the sense of I have been quite, but I can be overweight and healthy, because you don't know what's going on inside your body. But I haven't been well for 6 months. I really haven't. My mental health hasn't been well. My physical health hasn't been well. You know, I've spoken to you about this a number of times, of trying to work out what is the contributing factors, you know, mental health, physical health. It's difficult to know what that is. And I went to the GP for my mental health, and also to have a chat about menopause and things like that. And it was just a blanket, let's just do some tests. I didn't even think anything of it. And then, I got a call to say that I was quite within range of being type 2 diabetic. Now, diabetes does run in my family. So I'm not saying that this is, you know, a full contribution of the fact that I've eaten and had poor habits for my whole life pretty much. But something in that moment then
switched.
And I go, okay, this is now about me, because what I had to do was sit at the table with my kids and tell them that. And not, you know, not everyone with type 2 diabetes is overweight, but I'm just saying it's now a condition that I have to manage for the rest of my life, because it won't go. I can make it better by the choices that I have, but it won't go away. And by the time this comes out, you know, I'm literally talking, this is days ago that I found out. So I have no further information about what my plan is. But the first thing I'm told is, so you're type 2 diabetic, so the best thing you can do is lose weight. Full stop, done. And I go, oh, you know, you kind of just want to be a little bit sarcastic and go, oh God, why didn't I think of that? Damn it. I just need to lose weight. You're right. I just need to, why didn't I think that I just need to lose weight? There's no, you know, because I know what will come. It will be the food diaries and this and that. And I will try and engage in it. Maybe it will work. Maybe that switch has flicked and that will be something that I can maintain, but it won't, because that's not, it's not how it works. Something has definitely switched, because it now becomes, it's different.
Yeah.
It is different. It also explains a lot about the way I've been feeling with my anxiety and my, you know, quite severe ups and downs, and my dizziness and lots of things that anyone would worry about. Because
and the heart palpitations.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which I literally said to you the day before I got the call from that GP, didn't I? Of
this is what's going on.
Yeah, it's scary, because you don't know what's going on inside of your body. So for me, it was a bit like, my personality goes, okay, this is this, right, we've got to deal with it. What do we do to deal with it? But I also would quite like some support and tools to be able to help me manage that.
Yes. The thing I would say is, you know, in this situation, I guess you have to sort of draw upon what's worked for you in the past for other things. Maybe, you know, you're somebody who is so good at doing research and investigating things. Like, you're like this sort of like computer mind map that sort of focuses on things. And I feel like you're going to get the best support by doing it yourself.
Yeah.
And investigating it yourself, and maybe joining some groups online that have been through something similar, and also following some really, really good people on social media, which again, I have found personally,
yeah, you've said
really,
that before,
really
haven't
helpful.
You? And you've sent me a few, and I've been like, you know, I know we both bought the same kitchen.
Yeah, from Dominic Ludwig. She's just incredible.
Amazing. It's like this. Yeah. How would you describe it?
It's a chopper. I mean, it's a chopper.
But it's not. It's just a chopper. It's a cuber. Like it. Yes. It literally makes things precisely square.
Yes, they do. And there's this. Mine comes. They're just from Amazon. I can put a link in the show notes. It is, honestly though, has been really helpful for me. It's again working out what you need in your life, and I need to be able to get food into me quickly because especially during the day, I don't want to faff around. And I found that this just cuts the time down by half. I can have my lunch
quite
prepared.
Good for anger as well, isn't it? Because you have to sometimes bash it quite hard.
You really do, especially with carrots.
Yeah.
That's another thing that seems to be quite generic, again, from some of the people I've spoken to with neurodivergence, is the need for, there's certain things that you crave quite a lot, which is salt and a crunch. So quite often, you need a crunch. So again, putting carrot in with like a raw carrot in with my food, I find really does take up, you know, a bag of crisps. I love anything crunchy.
Yeah.
Toast, you know, anything like that. I feel sort of almost like I'm being deprived unless I have something like that within a meal. So yeah, I find it's been brilliant. Yeah. So yes, following.
I found that really helpful when you shared those with me. So that's a really good tip. I think I will spend some time doing that. I think also it's me looking at what I find hard personally, you know, not what everyone else is doing, but why do I forget to eat? Like, what can I do so I love, like, you know, overnight oats and yogurts and stuff. So why can't what I need to do is how can I train my brain to think, right, the night before you go to bed, this is going to become your routine. The same as the episode when we spoke about me not taking my tablets, which I don't.
Yes.
Have not had a problem with for the last few months. Because
okay, so take that as your example.
Yeah.
Take that. So what's changed?
I put it next to my car keys on the shelf.
Okay. So again, like, have you lost your car keys in the last?
Well, only when they've been in the bloody back of the door. If you haven't listened to that episode of me talking about my keys, Becky gave me a really good tip about putting my house key on my car key, which you go back and listen to it because there's a whole episode about why that couldn't happen with my said husband, but he wasn't keen on. Anyway, I now have my car key on my house key, but my house key is in the back of the door with my car key on it. So I spend all morning looking for my car key and realise that it's in the same place. But that's got better because that's now in there and, you know, I'm remembering.
So using, you know, so what you're doing is you're creating patterns and using your muscle memory for that. But also you're having a very kind conversation with yourself. And I know that sounds a little bit strange, but it is language. You know, we wouldn't, if you think about how you speak to other people, how you speak to your friends, and you wouldn't speak to your friends, I think, probably quite a lot of the time, how you speak to yourself.
No.
And it's so important. It's so important. So taking yourself back to a point where, like taking your tablets or your keys, where you can say, okay, well, how did I do that? Oh, I did that. And trying to apply the same logic. It's really, really helpful. And just if you go off track, just keep telling yourself that's okay.
Yeah, it's not the punishment, normal. Is it? You know, no. And that's where that's why those groups didn't work for me, because if I had a not even a bad week or good week, but if I knew that I wasn't going to have had a minus on them scales, you know, I probably wouldn't have gone, because it's that, oh God, I've got to explain this. And
also for some people that, I mean, I've heard actually people say out loud, I need someone to tell me off.
Yeah.
No, that's not me.
And listen, I know it works for some people, and we're not saying it doesn't. Yeah, I'm just talking about my own personal experiences. I know the root, not even a problem, but the thing that needs to change the most is my preparation, because I like good, nice food. I'm not a fussy eater. I don't eat beetroot, but that's for other reasons. It's just a bit of a phobia. I like nice, healthy foods when I have them in the house. So the actual first change that needs to happen is I need to do a weekly shop. Because when I don't do a weekly shop, I shop per day. And then when I'm grabbing dinner on the way home...
You're grabbing what you fancy.
Exactly. It's if it's here... I have no problem. I know what I'm having for lunch today. I know what I'm having for dinner tonight. You know, we did a click and collect on Saturday. That is absolutely fine. But that has to maintain, because what will happen is I'll book that for 3 weeks, and then, you know, naturally it kind of just, I need to make sure that doesn't change, because if food is in the house, I'll make good choices. If food isn't in the house, I'm going to McDonald's.
I've found, again, similarly, I still don't do a regular food shop for many different reasons. And again, it's that thing that I struggle to do. I've tried all sorts of different things. I'm better. But what I've done is I've found something that I really like, that I have for lunch, that is in the cupboard, store cupboard. And I buy it in bulk, which is the sardines in olive oil. I don't know why, but I have just got this, you know, like, I don't know whether you do the same thing. When I find something I like...
I'm eating it every day.
Yeah. So I try not to do that, because I know that eventually I will just make me gag. But I have those sardines. They live in the cupboard. Nobody else eats them but me. So nobody else is going to steal them. And I know that they're always there, and I buy them. So I don't have to do a weekly shop to eat well, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does.
And that's my go-to thing. And everything else, you know, that I have with that generally is I can go to the garage and get, you know, if I'm running out. So I find if there's 1 or 2 meals that you can have that consist of something in the store cupboard, you know, and tinned fish. I don't know whether that's...
Yeah, I love tuna. I love it.
Oh my God. But in olive oil, that's the most important bit. Buy it in olive oil. It is a bit more expensive, but it's so much better for you. And I use the olive oil from the tin, a little bit of it, as a dressing on the salad that goes underneath. So none of it goes to waste. And it's sorry.
should be eating what you're.
I know.
You should have sent some over to me. We'd be eating sardines on a nice crisp bread or something. But
and also, I know what I meant to say to you. I'm something I feel so passionate about is I've got the most incredible recipe. It also came from Dominique Ludwig, to give her a mention, who I have to say I find brilliant. She just is short, sharp, really essential stuff. I need to know what foods go together. I need it to be tasty and I need it to be quick.
Yeah.
And she seems to hit all of those. Anyway, she had posted a recipe for fundamentally a replacement for Twix bars. Yeah, and they're
Twix is
really
my
nice.
go-to. I mean, can I also just add a disclaimer? Not that I want to give away my address. My front door opens out onto Marks and Spencer's.
I know.
Like,
I know. That's
if
so
I
hard.
want a Twix at 10 p.m,
you can get one.
I can get a Twix. Okay, give me this Twix thing, because Twix is...
So it basically uses dark chocolate, dates, oats, and coconut oil.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's pretty much it. Is it oats? Yes, I'm sure it's oats. You blend them up. Yes. Anyway, I will again post it on our show notes, and I'll send it to you. And actually, next week I will make some, and I'll get them sent to you so we can try them live.
Send them
and honestly, they are so nice. And they just, again, what I've tried to focus on is, rather than, I don't calorie count.
Yeah.
I don't do any of that. The thing that I'm trying to do is eat little or no sugar. And if I do just a temporary thing, that doesn't make much sense.
I think I know what you mean. I also then, because sometimes it's quite easy to go, oh, well, I've messed up now, then I might as well just have, if I've had a Twix, well, I might as well mess up. I'm going to have something.
But that's fine.
It is, because you're not, it's not the punishment of falling off of something.
Correct. And then consistently doing it every day. If you're that way inclined and you're somebody that is, you have a history of going there when you're not feeling great or when you are feeling great, it is going to happen potentially. And it's just not beating yourself up. And then just, again, having that ability to say, okay, now I'm going to make a different choice today.
Yeah.
So the other thing that I've tried to focus on is, and that I, again, follow people who give me lots of really valuable information on this, is unprocessed food.
Mm.
So unprocessed, and you can't, within reason, go far wrong with that.
Yeah. It's
actually, when I look at the stuff that I used to have, that I just instinctively knew wasn't good for me, it was all the processed stuff. Yeah. And to be fair, I've just had a little bag of crisps.
Yeah, but again,
so it's not like I'm not.
No. I think what I find difficult is, so my current setup is, my husband will eat anything. Literally, like, he cooks, but he will also, whatever I made for dinner, because predominantly I'm home earlier, so I make dinner, he would literally eat anything. My eldest daughter is a vegetarian, so she won't eat everything.
Right.
My younger daughter has a dairy allergy, a peanut allergy, and also does not eat anything. She's
quite particular.
She is very particular, to the point of, we're at a point where you just need to just eat whatever you want, so you eat. She's the polar opposite of me. She's not run by food. She's not food orientated. She is very plain. There's no vegetables. There's no fruit. There's no colour. There's a very strong pattern forming, but she's healthy. She has a dietitian, and everyone's happy there. But it does make cooking difficult. So she has no sauce on anything. She doesn't like tomatoes. She doesn't like, we can cook a really nice veggie meal, and my husband and my eldest and I can enjoy that. But the little one will always have something different. Sometimes she would have, like, if we were having a chili, like a vegetable chili, she would be very happy with just a bowl of plain rice, nothing else on it. She wouldn't want anything else to really touch it. So she wouldn't want peas or anything on it. So it's really hard to cook, because sometimes it's quite tiring cooking 3 meals, because I don't always want to have a veggie meal. I want some meat. No. So I then have to come up with things so we have stuff in the fridge that is probably more processed that we're giving them, because it's quicker for them, and then we cook for ourselves. But
and again, you have to kind of
survive. Yeah. Parenting's hard enough. When I'm like,
you have to.
And actually, this has been a really good topic of conversation, because when I was chatting to my eldest about it, and I'm really conscious to not discuss in front of her, diets, so to speak. I don't want her thinking about body image and everything. Like she doesn't have any of those thoughts at the moment. She's in year 7, only just gone into secondary school, and so I'm conscious that it's not about mummy can't eat this because she's on a diet, or mummy's trying to be healthy, or blah blah blah. It's what is good for your body, and that's what we've done. Are you back? That's what we've done this week.
I just need to plug in.
Is actually some of the reason, not all of the reason, because it does run in my family, but some of the reason as to why mummy has this condition now is because some of the choices that I may have made have been not as healthy as they could be. And it's important to understand what you put in your body does affect your body. That's not to say we can never have it, but it is about learning moderation.
And do you know what? Kids do as we do, not as we say so often. Sorry, I'm just going to plug in. Bear with.
Exactly.
But, again, it's a lot of pressure to then be able to... Hang on.
Just having a slight pause while Becky plugs her laptop in, because as you can tell by
keeping it real,
I think this is episode 4 of series 2.
Oh yes, we didn't say that at the beginning, did
we? We're still smashing this professionalism. Anyway, she's plugged in.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, it's different. It's difficult, isn't it? When you've got younger people that you are also influencing. I want them to be, body confident, but it's life. You do have to understand that what you put in your body does affect your body, like what you've just said with how different you feel from not eating as many processed foods is amazing.
But it is also, I have had some health issues, nothing too kind of like life altering, but I've had some tummy problems when I was in my early 40s, actually 40. I had my gallbladder removed, which was a nightmare. And so I've had some challenges ever since. But before that, I could eat anything. And that has sort of allowed me to focus. But again, that didn't alter it really for me. I come back to this again because I feel so strongly about it. It hasn't been, everybody talks about this switch, and it hasn't been until I am completely accepting of who I am and understanding who I am, that's, as I said, released any shame about most things, that about how I tick, that has then allowed me to make better choices. It's as simple as that, really. And sort of understanding and releasing that guilt that's attached to it, and the voice inside my head has really been a game changer for me.
And I think it's just about being, it's really hard when it's not an excuse. I don't ever want to go, well, I can't do that because, I have ADHD, or I have this, or I have that, but there comes a point where you go, right, well, clearly this is having an effect on my mental health, which is then having an effect on my physical health. And one thing I really wanted to do, and I know that you do with the Umbrella Hub, is for like body doubling that you do for working and things, is if like every Monday morning I could body double with someone that did an online shop. That you're then going, okay, right, at 9:30 every Monday morning, we're both going to sit down, do our online shop, and then it's done. Because when those things, I find that easier than me just going, oh, I can get very easily distracted and not do that online shop. I also would like to ask, well, not that I want to name drop, but I predominantly shop in Sainsbury's because I live that end of town to collect.
Yeah.
I don't, it's not my absolute preference, but I am calling out to Sainsbury's. What I would really, really like is to be able to book a slot every week
same day
for 2 months. I would like to click and collect my shopping at 5:30 p.m. every Thursday night for 2 months.
Can you not do that?
No, you can't pre-book. Well, I don't know. If anyone is listening and can tell me otherwise, you can only book next week's slot.
Okay.
I then can't book the week.
And collect.
Well, or for delivery, whatever. I just want to be able to do, if I could do a shop today for the next 5 weeks and it be ready at that point, life-changing for me, because I do naturally eat the same foods and I'm happy with that. We have the same kind of recipes. We alternate here and there, but predominantly our menus stick to around the same sort of food. So my shopping list is pretty similar. I might add a few bits in. If I could do that and then just pick it up and it come, life-changing. So if anyone's listening.
I know Ocado do that. So Ocado obviously only deliver, they don't click and collect, but you can, and I used to book the same slot every single, you pay something for sort of like deliver, you pay like a fixed amount for deliveries for the year.
See, I think some people are going to message me now and go, you can do that. I'm not stuck to that one said shop. It's just because I work very near it that on my way home it's nice to click and collect. Any supermarket that I could have that same click and collect slot for.
So which would mean that you just, again, you would habitually did the same time every week.
Yeah, it's I can't get the same time, and then like this week it was Saturday at 1 p.m. So then Simon and my littlest had to go and get it, and no one wants that with a 5-year-old.
Can you? So when do you generally do the shop to
I remember
the click and collect? Right. So maybe. Yeah, if you do it in advance, how far in advance can you book your click and collect?
I did that one on Friday morning for a click and collect on Saturday. So I think I could click and collect or delivery. I think if I did a shop tonight
on the Monday,
because this is the thing, my house is full of food because I collected on Saturday.
So you're not thinking about
shopping.
It. Yeah,
but I should go right now for next week.
Yes,
this is what I need.
The minute you've done it. Yeah, the minute you've picked it up almost.
And does anyone else have any, I mean, I'm talking like we're, chatting amongst loads of people, but if anyone is listening and has any tips of how I can make that more of a regular routine, I think it would really, really help. I really do, because I don't think anyone, neurotypical, neurodiverse, whatever, who is overweight, regardless of the reason, to be told you need to lose weight is good enough.
No,
because clearly there's a reason why they need to do that in the first place. So I just don't, I've been referred to the healthy eating clinic and it was, 5-minute appointment. Okay, let's go through. What do you find difficult? Do you do this? Do you do that? Okay, right. So we're going to send you a form, fill this form in. I've got ADHD. I'm not using that as an excuse, but that form is not going to be filled in.
No.
And then can you please fill in this diary for 4 weeks and send it back to us? I've zoned out of that whole conversation before it's ended. And I don't want people listening to go that is an excuse, because it isn't. It's just me being really honest.
And
really honest about it.
Explaining how your brain works.
I could pretend that it wouldn't happen, but it would happen.
Yeah. I should also say at this point, with the Umbrella Hub, we had a brilliant conversation with a nutritionist called Catherine Jeans. Again, I'll link her in the show notes. She is a nutritionist that specializes in helping people with neurodivergence. She has a neurospicy household herself. You can either get in touch with her if you're looking for some extra help and want some specific support. Also, I think you were there, weren't you? Did you attend our workshop that we did?
No, I had a child drama, didn't I? One of those evenings.
Yes, that's it.
They happen often.
The workshop is available to download actually from our website, so you can just do that. And there's some really good nuggets of helpful nutritional advice on there. But what I love about her approach is that she uses really kind language. And there's, again, if somebody comes on and talks to her, that she doesn't shame them, or, there's just so much more understanding around, how somebody with ADHD or autism ticks and what they need to hear and how they need to function. And hopefully eventually that will filter down into the wider medical world.
Hope, can't you? I just think that I feel strong enough that I'm, we've spoken about that before as well, as we both are. I'm a proud advocate of myself, and I know that I can find things and advocate to different services if I need it, but I do feel like that's not how everybody works. So it should be,
and not everybody can do that.
No,
and nor should they.
Shouldn't
anyway.
Have to.
So I think we've done quite well.
Yeah, hopefully you found that interesting, and you can comment and send us in anything that any
ask
feedback
us any
from
questions.
that. Yeah, like you say, it's just our personal experience, so we aren't expertos, but yeah, it's great to talk about. It's a conversation we have a lot between ourselves, isn't it? As a positive one. So we thought, why not have a chat about it on here? So that was we didn't introduce ourselves properly. That was episode 4 of series 2, and of Creative Rehab.
Creative Rehab.
What's coming up next?
Well, as in next week.
Next episode.
Next episode. I don't know. What's coming
Are we not interviewing someone?
Oh, I see. Yes.
One of us is tuned in. Don't worry. One of us knows what we're doing, and it's not me.
So yes, we've got a lovely conversation with somebody who's uber creative, and somebody I met through Instagram. And
are we going to announce it or not? Should we leave them hanging?
Well, let's leave them hanging.
Yeah,
and
I'm really excited.
On our
I think we've probably mentioned it on the previous episode. Actually.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go.
But yeah, we've got that one coming up. And the other thing that I thought I actually haven't said that I'm going to say this, so give me a look if you don't want me to. But we had a little idea for our podcast of a kind of like ask us anything. So we're going to arrange at some point, maybe not next episode, but in a couple of weeks, that you can send in your questions to our lovely producer, Marie. We will give you an email address for that. And we will do kind of like a Q&A of anything. And I'm going to speak on my behalf that, I have quite low boundaries. So you can pretty much ask me anything. I don't know how Becky Batchelor feels, but anything you want to know, literally.
Yeah, no, I'm very much an open book.
But so we will put some details of that up as well, because it'll be really nice to engage with you guys and see what questions you have, but across all topics.
Yes.
Anything you like. And yeah, please don't forget to like, subscribe, download, and watch us on YouTube, because our faces are really funny too. You can see us.
See everything.
And I listen. I don't often. No, I listen back, but I'm not claiming that I listen to this all the time. I'm not that. I don't know what that means, but I don't listen to myself all the time. I did watch it on YouTube. And it's a completely different experience.
It is. It's funny,
when
isn't
you can see our facial expressions of us talking. I feel like it's, I think
it's totally different.
So you can get us on YouTube.
I should also say, and I probably should have said this at the beginning. So 2 things. First one is, apparently the YouTube podcast thing is very, very popular with the young'uns.
As are we. This is right up their street.
We're also on TikTok.
Oh my God, I'm the TikToker. Yes, I have finally downloaded TikTok, and Creative Rehab is on TikTok. So come on over and see some good stuff. I don't know what I'm doing on it, but I'm not a TikToker.
And we didn't record last week, did we? And the reason we didn't record last week is obviously, so last weekend, I dropped my kids off at uni, and everything was great. It was all good, but I was a little bit wobbly, not going to lie.
Yeah.
When I got home on the Sunday night, because they're a good 5 hours away. And so it took me a long time to get home, and that wasn't very nice. And then Monday, I couldn't function.
No, you just needed some time on your own, didn't you?
I did, yes. But I've been completely fine with the odd, moment.
Yeah,
but
of course.
Really quite okay ever since. So, but yeah,
that's what we do. We look after ourselves and each other, and that's the whole point of this podcast. If something else comes up that is not more important, I don't mean that, but we're We get it.
Yes.
I get it. And
I
that was
know,
a really
and I
massive
really
thing. It was a really
appreciate
big
that.
weekend. So you needed to
It
just
was.
stop. And
It still feels weird.
Yeah,
it feels really weird. But I'm not going to lie.
Be
there
careful.
are some nice. Look at my house. Look, it's tidy and nothing's moved.
Gosh.
In sort of 24 hours. Pete's also away. He went away Sunday night.
Oh,
so it's just me till Friday.
Are you joking? I could cry. When will that happen to me?
Someone said to me yesterday, "Oh, are you going to be okay?" I went, "I'm going to be fine.
I'm coming over. I'm staying. When's he back?
Friday.
Yeah, I'm there. So I'm going to go stay with Becky from Tuesday to Thursday.
Okay.
We'll do a Live With Us podcast. Live with us for 4 days.
Okay.
We might not be recording a podcast at the end of it. It might be the end of Creative Rehab.
Wow.
That was when it ended. But yeah. So yeah, we're back. This is this week's episode. We've got a guest, and then we will do our next episode with questions. So we will link everything in all of the platforms. We're literally, you can't not get us. We are Instagram, TikTok,
everywhere,
YouTube, podcasts, Spotify, Apple, everywhere. So please do engage with us, because we do love that. And we'll post all of the links of what we've spoken about on our Instagram so that you can see it. Oh, yes. Happy?
Right, my love. Yes.
So nice to see you.
And you.
Have a good week, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.